I think that in the case in Spain, it's obvious that the growth model that Spain was aiming for was very unstable and not at all sustainable in time. We only had to have one crisis to have 25% unemployment, and one of the biggest failures of that growth model was that innovation was never on the table. Never. It is true that under the last socialist government, the expenditure, the investment in public innovation increased, but that was not enough. So I think that if we really want in Spain to have a growth model which is in line with the more developed countries, and it's based in added value and not in building a lot of buildings or welcoming a lot of tourists in our beaches. Then the only possible way of doing that is having a very strong innovation system, which at the moment the actual government is practically destroying it. The fast answer is yes. I mean, in all systems, especially when they are big, there are a lot of inefficiencies. And of course, you have to study them in depth and try to solve them, because it's not wise to spend money without intelligence. Okay, but I really think that's not the main problem. I think that the main problem in Spain at the moment is the lack of funding. I think that scientists in Spain have been able to do a lot with very little. So in that sense, I don't think that science in Spain has been inefficient. Rather the other way around. It has been extremely efficient with the investment, which is 1/6 of the European average. We in Spain we invest 0.5% of the gross domestic product in science versus 3%, which is the average in Europe. Scientists in Spain are doing magic. So I don't really think that the system is inefficient at the moment. I think it's underfinanced. Matters of manpower, of people, we are fine. But in matters of how to do things, we have still a lot to learn from countries like Germany, for example. I am thinking about the Max Planck network of institutes. I think we have to look north for inspiration. That's a complicated question because at the moment Podemos does not have a unique voice. We are at the moment in the process of giving to ourselves an organization. In any case, I cannot see how Podemos wouldn't support it in the end. As I told you before, I think what it is asked in the letter is the minimum. And I even think that we should aim for more. And I told it so to the people responsible of the Carta Abierta, and they told me yes, we know. We have to make a plan for returning scientists. Spain has lost a lot of young people in the last year, and that's terrible for a country because not only because we as a country invested a lot of public money in the education of these young people, but also because it's a tragedy that those that have the most know-how have to go away, and I think that we should probably make a return plan. As I said before, I think that the main issue is funding. I think that you have to give scientists a normal salary, because money-wise, we scientists are not ambitious, so we only want to live a quiet life and have the basic things, and no more than that. And but you also have to make the job position stable, because if the scientist is all the time thinking about which is going to be her next postdoc, or what will she do the next 6 months, she's not thinking about science. So yeah, I think that you have to provide scientists with stable careers, and you have to have enough funding for the labs to run. We have to change our governing class for if we want to have better science, because the governing class that we have now is not at all interested in research and development. They think that in some way lowering the salaries of everyone and deregulating large businesses, somehow large businesses will find a way to growth, and that doesn't seem to be the case. If you look at the statistics in every country, including the United States, where they have a lot of private research and development, it's always the public sector which is more innovative, which makes the largest discoveries that then are translated into technologies. So I think that's a fairy tale. That's a fairy tale. What our governing class thinks at the moment, which is, okay, let's drop taxes, let's reduce people's salaries, and then somehow a clever businessman will, with all these advantages, will find a way to innovation. Every time, if we look at the data, that's not true. Okay. In Podemos, we will certainly use that mechanism. The program of Podemos is not written yet. We will write it, okay? And how we will write it? By asking those people that live the problem firsthand. They know how the system works, and we will invite them to write the draft of our program in the part of research and innovation. We don't think that the top of the system is the people who knows how the system works. I don't really know them. I didn't have the time to study his CV. I think that the election of the commissioners is not based on merits, is not based on know-how, is not based on anything apart from a pact between countries. I mean, in recent weeks, Angela Merkel came to Spain to speak in private with our president Mariano Rajoy, and they were walking in the fields of Galicia. They made some pact, which we will never know what they said. Okay, that's what they call democracy. Okay, I don't have a lot of hope that the new research commissioner will be the the best man for the job. I don't really think so. If you elect the research commissioner, let's say, using direct voting in open primaries, and there are a lot of candidates, and they are allowed to say in a short YouTube video what's their past, what they know, what they plan to do, how will they work, all that, and then people vote. I know from experience that the result is typically very good. Maybe direct democracy is not perfect, but what's obvious and what's clear from the recent history of our continent is that this fake of a democracy that we have is not good at all.